Hey everyone, it's me Charlie here, and Happy New Year! Happy 2020, happy new decade. As you can see, I'm dressed up for the occasion in my best flamingo shirt. We're back here for our yearly edition of our annual tradition, see what I did there, of New Year's resolutions. I think I'm gonna make the flamingo shirt part of the tradition as well, because I like it. This is the yearly edition of our show where exactly what it sounds like, we go through a list of New Year's resolutions that I've set for myself, and I realize how unrealistic they are. But first, before we get to my new list of New Year's resolutions, which I have over here, kidding, this page is blank. I have it for thumbnail purposes. First, we have to review last year's resolutions and see how well I did in completing them or failing to do so. Also, last year's episode was completely scripted, so please excuse the bad acting. Released on January 31st. Very well timed, Charlie. Good job. Oh, this is a good bit, actually. Yeah. Sorry, whoops, wrong pocket. There we go. Like that bit, and it's a good one. The joke is I don't have a lot of resolutions, and some of them aren't very serious, as you'll see. If you want to see the whole video, you should go check it out. There's probably going to be a link in the description to the playlist. Oh wow, I made little visuals. Okay, I guess we have to do that again, huh? Resolution number 1. In term 4 of year 9 this year, I want to bring home a good report. Nothing but A's and B's. Yeah, okay. A little bit unrealistic, Charlie. The one thing that I'll say this resolution did was provide me with incentive, which is, I guess, the whole entire point, and an expectation to meet, but I think I may have been a little bit too strict. A's and B's all the time. Also, that's not a capital B, Charlie, come on. Get your visuals in order. It's not exactly 100% reasonable all the time, and you're not gonna, there's some subjects where you just know that you're not gonna be getting A's or B's all the time, if ever. Like PE. I'm not getting A's and B's in PE. No, that's not a thing that's happening. On the whole, I don't think this was a very good resolution. It had a pretty negative effect on my ability to actually do work at sometimes, because I had this message drilled into my head that I had to be getting A's and B's, I had to be doing the best in everything all the time. Not that I overworked myself or anything, because I don't work hard enough for that. I'm lazy, okay? Which is, again, why this was probably a little bit too much to ask. As to how well I actually did to achieve this goal, I think I did pretty alright, honestly. Except it was less so A's and B's and more like B's and C's. Mainly B's, but also C's, with some A's and outstandings mixed in here and there. If you're not Australian or have some other way of marking system, like such as A's and B's. A's and B's obviously is the more common thing. We really have more of a outstanding high sound based, like structure sort of thing. Outstanding being an A, high being a B, that sort of thing. It's pretty much the same though. All in all, intent was good to keep up a high standard of work in school, but a little bit too harsh and specific as well. That might sound like I'm making up an excuse, but it legitimately just isn't really a very good resolution. Next one. But I actually want to try out a couple of different strategies. An example of one of these you might have heard of involves this thing, a tomato timer. It's called the Pomodoro technique. Oh yeah, this thing. Pomodoro meaning tomato in Italian. It's basically where you put the timer on for 25 minutes and work really hard on the thing you have to do with no distractions. Yeah. And then when the timer is over, you take a break for the same amount of time, 25 minutes, and then set the timer again and work again for another session. The sections of work are called Pomodoros. Right, so you get the basic idea. It's a tool to combat procrastination, which I think was wise to try and achieve, because procrastination is a very large issue for me, still is, and certainly was then. Leaving stuff to the last minute, pretty common occurrence. For me, at least. But yeah, did I use the Pomodoro as much? It's still here on my desk, so, you know, kind of used it too little. I did use them, but not as much as I may have put it out to be in this video, and I was more so focused on the idea of beating procrastination, just doing stuff early, instead of, you know, short, concentrated bursts of work in this specific sort of technique. Again, general concept is good, but the specific resolution is a little bit too specific. It needs to be less targeted and more general, and that makes it a bit easier to follow as well. Next resolution. Resolution number 2. Buy and play the new Generation 8 Pokemon games for Nintendo Switch and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Obviously, not as serious as the rest on the list and as the rest of my list will be this year. I think I go on to say the main inclusion of this is for some less serious stuff. I don't think it's much of a resolution and just more of a, looking forward to sort of thing. In terms of actual completion, yes, I did play the new Pokemon games. They are good. Smash Ultimate I haven't bought yet. I would like to still. Haven't got around to it. It's an okay resolution. It's intended to be less serious, and that's okay. Not all resolutions have to be serious. Moving on. Resolution number 3. Create and stick to a stricter uploading schedule, most likely a monthly quota of at least one quality video. This is a good resolution. I like the wording. I've picked on other resolutions before for being too specific, but I like that this one is specific in a way that's reasonable and actually achievable. I've always wanted to upload more videos to YouTube than I've constantly been doing. I'd still like to be making more, but with what other stuff I have on, my current amount of videos happening at once is sort of my maximum. Unless I wanted to be really, really working hard and basically cut out all of my free time. But, a lot of my free time is occupied by this. And I do put a lot of effort into every video. I want every single video to be quality. So that's the standard that I try and uphold. In terms of monthly quota of at least one quality video, yes, that is exactly what I did. And actually, I did that twice over. This is mostly thanks to new computer, new Premiere Pro access. But everything is just heaps quicker now, heaps better in my opinion. I think all my new videos now are just a lot better, especially with access to Photoshop as well for thumbnails and for visuals like this. Obviously better than this now. But yeah, I upload like once every 2 weeks now. So that's just an amazing improvement over how I used to be doing, which was sometimes I would struggle to meet my monthly quota just because I wasn't really working very hard to do it. iMovie was just the worst for everything. But now I'm doing that, and I'm happy about it. This is a good resolution. More like this, please. Content, hopefully that will attract some more viewers to the channel. Because right now, looking at this sub count is just kind of depressing. I'm not seeing enough movement! And... wow. Yeah, we're at 86 subs now. We have seen some good growth since last year. Nothing ridiculous, obviously. 3 years on YouTube, you'd probably expect someone to hit that 100 sub margin within that time. I'm alright. I'm alright to keep going how I am, honestly. Slow growth, eventually, it's gonna happen sometime, right? I mean, not necessarily, but you can only hope, and you can only try, and you can only keep on uploading. But yeah, so like 30 subs in a year, I suppose. If that was 56. For a small channel, that's not too bad. Finally, resolution number 4. Save up enough money to buy an iPhone 7 and finally replace the old iPod 5 from 2012. Yeah, we did it, gang. We did. I did buy an iPhone 7 and I did get the money and I did replace the old iPod 5 from 2012. I'm happy about this one. This is a fairly decent resolution, Pretty straightforward and targeted goal, achievable, and, good benefit. Because this is a real improvement, obviously. But yeah, that's about it in terms of last year's resolutions. Only the 4. And I still sort of agree with keeping the resolutions list short and meaningful, I think. But I have increased the list a little bit this year, and I think my resolutions this year are a little bit better. I think they're just the right level of targeted, and yet at the same time not too specific, whilst also being beneficial and being improvements for me that I can actually do, But first I gotta have dinner. Be right back.
6.5 hours later.
I am back from dinner, my belly is full, and I am ready to read you my New Year's resolutions for 2020. First resolution on the list is keep up connections. Now, to explain this one a little bit more, this is mainly in reference to friends who are some distance away from me that I would like to stay in contact with and organize catch-ups with and that sort of thing, because they're worth it, okay? I want to try and stay in contact with everybody, keep up those connections, because I value that. So yeah, fairly straightforward, reasonably serious one, and yeah, definitely something I'll be trying to do this year. Resolution number 2, manage time well. This is very vague. But to try and explain it a little bit more, it's mainly referring to making better use of my free time. Basically, less time playing CSGO and Breath of the Wild, and more time working on videos, or schoolwork, or just stuff that's at least productive in some way. Because don't get me wrong, I love all those other things, but obviously everything in moderation, gotta have a decent balance, and you have to prioritize those things that are just more important and have to be done. So yeah, that's just a general skill really, and again, pretty vague, but it's an important one I think. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Resolution number 3, stay on top of schoolwork. Now this is sort of similar to last year's resolution of consistently going and getting A's and B's, except it's really a lot better. This is a much better resolution. And you might think, well, it's just like very, very vague and it's just, you know, being less hard on yourself so that you can realistically achieve a goal. And yes, to some degree, but last year's resolution was more so just about the end result instead of actually doing well the whole way through. Stay on top of schoolwork is specifically talking about just consistently be up to date with everything, get everything turned in on time and to a decent enough degree, slash the best I can do due to how much time I have. But all in all, better resolution, not as harsh, and actually still sort of retains the same intent as last year's one with retaining high quality schoolwork. Resolution number 4, keep uploading YouTube videos. Again, this is sort of similar to a resolution last year, and it sort of isn't really a resolution. It's kind of cheating a bit to fill in the list because I'm not asking specifically or trying to change anything in particular. I'm just trying to maintain what I already have going on. If last year was try and upload more, this year is keep on going. Just keep doing it at the same rate and at the quality that you're doing. I mean, obviously, as I do it over time, I'm always gonna improve, hopefully. And sure, uploading more would be great. But honestly, I'm pretty happy with where I'm sitting now in terms of how frequently I upload. Sure, more would be great, but you know, you have to be realistic with these sort of things. And yeah, like I said, I'm already pretty happy with what I'm doing, so no need for a huge change. And the last resolution on this list, resolution number 5, is a somewhat serious one. It's less so about the typical things that we've seen before on these lists, such as school and uploading schedule and that sort of thing, but more to do about me and my treatment towards other people and just as a person in general, I guess. It's try to be less self-centered. I don't know if that's the best way to word it, but what I'm sort of going for here is practicing more empathy, just caring more about other people and my friends and, you know, their problems, because it's a common issue that I seem to have where someone has an issue, it's easy for me to just step away and let them deal with it and, you know, fall into their support groups, which obviously they can help them out and they'll be well supported in those groups. But I'm not someone who likes drama. I'm more than happy to just step away, do my own thing. And honestly, I'm kind of okay with that, but I think I'd like to do a bit of a better job at comforting the person, being there when they need them sort of thing, because I'm not very good at it. And not just when people are troubled in general. Less self-centered, you know, encompasses quite a large range of different issues in itself. Yeah, just showing more care, showing more empathy, being there, and, you know, just trying to be a better person in general, really. So that's probably one of the more serious ones on the list, but, you know, I think all of them matter in a similar amount to me, and they all deserve their place on the list. So that's about it for my list of resolutions this year. Again, this paper is still blank. Don't know why I keep waving it around. I'm pretty happy with my list. I think it's all stuff that I can easily, well, not easily, that's kind of the whole point, achieve. They're achievable goals, and they're good goals, I think. It's stuff that is going to be beneficial for me, and isn't going to be so ridiculous that's impossible. So yeah, I'm fairly happy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you haven't seen last year's resolutions video and you'd like to see it in its entirety, it will be linked in a playlist down in the description. What are your New Year resolutions for this year? Please let me know, because I'm sure lots of people will be doing them as it is the turn of the decade. You know, lots of people looking to improve themselves, which is always awesome to see. And if you haven't made any resolutions, maybe it's a good idea to think about some, because personally I am a firm believer in the idea of New Year's resolutions and self-improvement in general, not just at the start of the year, but all year round, you know. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like on it if you enjoyed. Go check out some of my other stuff if you're new around here. That would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe, get notified for every time I upload, which is decently frequently these days. I hope you all have an amazing 2020, and I personally am feeling really good about this coming decade. It's kind of crazy for me to be here at the start of another decade because it sort of really feels like a turning point for me. If the 2010s decade was the decade that I started school, sort of grew up and changed a lot as a person, obviously I have a lot of growing still to do, but a lot of that did happen, especially the last half of the 2010s decade. The 2020s decade is going to be the decade when I leave school, potentially move out, get a job, start pursuing what I want to actually do with my life outside of school, and that's kind of terrifying to think about, so I'm going to try and not think about that for a little bit, but it's exciting. And I think this year especially is going to be a really, really good year. And I hope you have an amazing 2020 as well. At the end of the next decade, I'm going to be 26. Whew, it's going to be a busy one, I can tell you. But it's also going to be absolutely amazing. And I can't wait. So thanks again so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you later. Bye-bye! But yeah, I upload like twice a week now. That's not true. I did get enough money and I did buy an iPhone 4. No, I didn't. That's not true either.